You're listening to 50 Pirates in 50 Days on the Sports Objective Podcast. A new era of East Carolina football is here and will begin on August 31st when Mike Houston leads the Pirates into action at NC State. Between now and then, join us for a daily trip down memory lane as we experience Pirate football through the words of the men who made those memorable moments happen. Here's your host, Bubba Rosenbaum.
Welcome into the Sports Objective Podcast, 50 Pirates in 50 Days. I'm Bubba Rosenbaum, and Dave Richmond is alongside. Tonight we're very excited to be catching up with a guy who played for the Pirates in the mid-'90s. He was a Pirate in high school, and I'm talking about Travis Newkirk. Travis, welcome into the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Bubba. Dave, appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're very excited to have you on. And Travis, we're very excited because I told you before we started the interview earlier that this podcast is the reason why we love doing it is we get a chance to reach out to former Pirates and tell folks how much they mean to us. And you forget, like, the thing is seems like the 4 years go by very fast. And we wanted to honor those players and coaches and stuff. But can you tell us, I know that you obviously Riverside and Durham, which is the Pirates purple and gold. And can you talk about why did you pick East Carolina? I'm just curious.
Well, one reason was, a lot of people say, one of their memorable moments or whatever, but I remember watching the Peach Bowl in '91, sitting on the couch with my dad and seeing them play NC State. And I was, basically a sophomore in high school playing quarterback, and, I just enjoyed the offense. I enjoyed the wide open offense, and when they were down and then they came back and won, and that, and I'd see, they'd list the guys' names and say, communications or whatever, what they were studying, and I loved, wanting to talk to folks and be a performer. And, so that solidified it. I really wanted to go there, and I just enjoyed the colors, and I wanted to be a Pirate and, be a Pirate for life. And, it just kind of, had its, happy little, medium of just getting together. And I was honored to be able to go to East Carolina and get a great education and play football as well, too.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, I know you were arriving onto the scene in '94, in the fall of '94, so that was the first of two consecutive Liberty Bowl appearances as the Pirates won the Liberty Bowl Alliance. So you're going into Steve Logan's third year, and the program is on its way back up after a couple of down seasons. So talk about things as you were entering the program in the fall of '94.
Yeah, fall of '94, I came in, and me and another. I was one of the. I think there were two receivers that came into freshman camp before the veterans got there. Me and Raymond Mabry, and wide receivers coach Doug Martin used to call us Shetland ponies because we were all of about 5'8". If that, I know that I came in, 5'8" and maybe 150 pounds soaking wet. But, the love that everybody showed me, especially like Junior Smith and things like that. I'd gone to the camp previous to me getting there, the Steve Logan football camp. And that's what really got me to where I was able to get, to the program. Paul Jett called me. I remember answering the phone. He says, "Do you want to come on in? Come on in, and you can come to our freshman camp." And it was, and the freshmen that were there was like me and Raymond Mabry, Ernest Tennant, the left-handed gunslinger out of Burlington Cummins, and it just really went well. And I was able to get my foot in the door and kind of progress from there.
That's what I recall. Raymond Mabry, I remember, like you were saying, just him, his diminutive size. But when he got in there, he made some things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray was, he and I were about the same height. He was a little bit thicker and bigger than me, but he had a heart just like I did. I guess we had the kind of the little man complex of we're not scared to take on any task and do whatever the coaches asked us to do. And it was we were kind of tied at the hip, being the Shetland ponies, so to speak.
Well, I wanted to bring in modern day times a guy a walk-on who got a scholarship in the Raleigh area. Was it Millbrook? Tyler Sneed. That he's doing really, really well, and he had a great spring. Right. Doing very well in fall camp. And do you have your thoughts on Tyler?
Well, you know what? It's awesome that you show up and you're paying your own way and you work hard in the classroom, number one, and on the football field as well too. And your hard work pays off to where you are recognized for something, and that is absolutely awesome for Tyler. And I'm so happy for him that he's able to do that and continue to fulfill his dream of playing. I remember seeing hearing his name on some of the football Friday shows as I watched years ago and stuff like that. And I'm happy for him. It's great, and it's great that players are recognized for their hard work and can earn a scholarship and live out their lifelong dream. So.
And Travis, something that's kind of cool is I'm sure you remember Brandon Simmons. Simmons, he's actually moved on to a new coaching position now at a new school there. I'm trying to remember the name of it. They're the Gators, I believe. But anyway, he had been at Millbrook and actually coached Tyler Sneed.
Yeah, I do remember him, and great guy, and I'm happy that he's now coaching and doing well, and I can only just want to pass on just the well wishings for him, definitely.
I'm very excited about. I want to get your thoughts too, and then we'll get back into your career, and obviously we'll talk about post East Carolina. Want to get your thoughts on being a former player. What are your thoughts on Coach Mike Houston, and where do you see this program going now? We've had 4 straight losing seasons. This is the first time since we would be going into the first year of Skip Holtz and a few seasons there, 1 Logan and 2 with John Thompson. So we haven't seen times like this in a good while. What do you think about the program? Where are we going? What do you think about Houston and company, the staff?
Game changer. What he's done at JMU has been remarkable, and the fire that he brings and the spirit of one thing that I'd heard is he was reviewing some film, and he's going to instill in these players, you don't quit, and that's a huge thing. And changing the mentality and coming in and just kind of wiping the slate clean. This is what was done in the past. This is how it's going to be done in the future. And setting a level of expectations is very huge. And I definitely look forward to seeing how the season's going to turn out. And people have asked me a lot. I'm in the Chapel Hill area where I work, and people ask me a lot. New coach in Chapel Hill, new coach at East Carolina. Well, I think that Mike Houston is going to be a game changer for the program and to help it continue to grow.
Travis, I've even said I think Coach Houston has the potential. Not this year; that will be amazing. But I think give him a few years. He's the kind of guy that could have the first ever back-to-back 10-win seasons. I really believe that. I think he demands it. And if you don't believe me, I'm a history guy. Look at the history of that coach. Everywhere from high school on up, he's a winner, and he knows what it takes. Plus, the staff that we have is, man. If you can go out, I hope you can go to practice. By the way, all the players, if you're a former player listening, you're invited. Coach Houston wants you there. But the practice now there is almost infectious. It's just like you go there, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, tons of energy, tons of the word urgency. You know, these guys have lost a lot of games.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you guys, I've told the guys on the podcast, or Bubba and Kyle, I'm telling you, Travis, these guys are so hungry that it's the perfect storm to have Houston and these hungry guys together and this staff, because I think you could see, I really believe this is a bowl team. I really do. Just by by just barely a bowl team. So that's all it takes. And the schedule's favorable. And I'm really excited. I just want to get your take on him, because he's I know Scotty Montgomery said Pirate Nation is the real deal, but I'm telling you, Mike Houston is the real deal.
Yeah, and I'll go back to my days when I was playing, and Coach Logan threw out this phrase: when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you learn to overcome that and get better. And I think that these guys are really sick and tired of being sick and tired of having to hear it from their friends, their family, their other, former teammates and former friends that are, at schools around the state. You know, they're sick and tired of hearing, well, it's ECU. Yeah, you beat Carolina, but you were 3-9,
yeah.
Yeah,
well,
3-9. Yeah.
3-9, 3-9.
Right. That as a player, that hurts, man. That hurts. That really does.
Our coach, I was just going to say, our coach in high school, that's funny, maybe that triggered that memory. I've mentioned this before on the podcast. The very fact, he said, Coach Mike Burrell, we lost 2 conference games we shouldn't have, and he said, when you get tired of losing, you'll find a way to win. I really believe this team is tired of losing. And with Coach Houston and the company, you had to make changes, whether we liked Montgomery or not or whatever. It just wasn't working. And you can't just keep doing the same thing, like the definition of insanity.
That's insanity. Exactly. Yeah. It is. 3-9, 3-9, 3-9. Yeah.
And we're normally used to winning 7, 8, 9 games, so it's like when you see 3-9, we're used to it should be 9-3, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
there's no reason in the world that it can't be. No reason.
The recruiting. Have you been paying attention to recruiting, by the way?
Recruiting, so in the Raleigh area, I get a lot of the local ACC flavor, but I've known about this new receiver that's come in from UCLA. Sounds like he's pretty good, good fit. I know about, Reed Herring and Holt Nailers as far as quarterback battles with that, but, as far as the recruiting thing, I'm hoping to dive in and really, dig a little bit deeper now with this, because there's some new excitement that's going on. And, I've always been, Pirate Nation, but, sometimes it's hard, man. It's hard. It's really hard. But what have you got as far as recruiting? What I can I know names.
Oh man, we had. I know, Bubba. We can talk about this on our next podcast. But the D lineman that we just got from South Carolina is it's amazing, Travis. A lot of people, unfortunately, in Pirate Nation, they think, I guess they're subjective of the fact that we've always just had 2 and 3 stars. So why should we go for the 4 stars? Holt Nailers is a 4-star. As soon as he picked East Carolina, it's all political. They dropped him down to 3-star. Travion Freshwater, who's getting academic on this current team, it was a 4-star. Did they leave him as a 4-star? He may be down to 3-star out of Elizabeth City and Northeastern. But we're getting guys now. Even Montgomery did an excellent job the last season of the guys in Eastern North Carolina, the 252, if you will, of guys. But I know this, but Ben Houston and company, man, they're getting Mason Garcia, one of the best quarterbacks in the upcoming class for 2020 out of Myrtle Beach. He's really good. And then there's a lot of other guys. I know Bubba knows names better than I do, but Mason Garcia was on my radar. I was like, please, we've got to have him. And what's great now, Travis, being a quarterback, we've got Holt Nailers for a few years. I think Reed is going to be playing better because we'll have a running game, and he's more of a traditional quarterback, and we'll have an offensive line under Coach Steve Shankweiler. Yeah. But after you have a few years of Holt Nailers left, then you've got Mason Garcia as a redshirt sophomore for a few years. Absolutely. So you're looking at about 6 years of a really good quarterback play, I believe.
Yeah. And what I've seen is it's, building. There was, when I got there was Marcus Crandall, which you remember Marcus. Then there was Danny Gonzalez. Then there was, basically David Garrard. And it was set up, step by step by step. It was years of great quarterbacks. And that's what I'm seeing now, with Reed and, with Holton and going forward. There's going to be, there's going to be a head sheriff in town, so you're going to have your choices. You're going to have your choices of QBs to pick from, and that is a sign of a strong program. That's a sign of a strong program and a program that is on the rise and wanting to get better and needing to get better. It starts with your quarterback. It starts, with the running game as well too, and your defense. You can't knock that. The D coordinator is lights out as well too. So it starts with all those things.
It's similar to line play, right?
Yeah. With Coach Shank, I remember Coach Shankweiler. I remember him, and he's a funny guy, but he
no nonsense, right?
Yeah, no nonsense on that field, man, and he gets the big old hog mollies in, and it gets them rip roaring and ready to go. So that's great, hog mollies. I remember saying that, hog mollies.
Yeah, I know the dancing bears, some people call it.
Oh well. Yeah. Yep.
Going back to ECU, I know, Bubba, we wanted to, I know I got sidetracked there, but wanted to get your thoughts on Houston. But let's talk about your career. And you were there at a special time, the Liberty Bowl years. And one of my favorite teams, the first year I covered ECU after graduation, 96, was one of those years that people have heard me say many times, but it's ridiculous that you guys didn't go to a bowl game that year.
Yeah, I still have the shirt to this day. We're number 26.
Wow.
26 in the nation. They printed out shirts the next year. We were 26 in the nation. We that year we lost to Peyton Manning in Tennessee, opening up the season, and it was a close game. Lost to Jim Drunkenmiller up in Virginia Tech in a snow game, and we lost to Southern Mississippi at home. And we didn't go to a bowl. And that hurt. Sure enough, hurt. We thought, and it wasn't the number of bowls that, that are out today. I don't know, what is it, 35, 40 bowls or whatever.
That's ridiculous. But
yeah, the mow your grass bowl. You know what I'm saying?
We'll take it this year, though, Travis.
Yeah, no, I'll take it. No, absolutely, we'll take it. But at that point in time, it was not. There were things that were not available, and so it was
very political back then.
Exactly, we were not affiliated, so we were in CUSA, but not fully in CUSA. You know what I'm saying?
And the old Liberty Bowl Alliance.
Liberty Bowl Alliance, yeah. And, the first 2 years, we lost to Illinois and came back and, beat Stanford and, but it was terrible. We didn't really quite understand it, but we knew it was kind of political. Little old East Carolina, the redheaded stepchild. That's kind of what we heard a lot of. But that was a very tough pill to swallow, and we, like I said, they printed out T-shirts for us. We're number 26, and we wore them all throughout the summer.
Well, it's funny about that you mentioned about how political it was, but one of the cool things about back then was you look at how many tickets can we sell, how well does this team travel. My God, you think about that 96 team, there were so many there were so many winners, so many great guys on that team.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world they could have sold, 10, 15,000 easily. East Carolina travels very well.
Absolutely.
And still, that's what maybe I was cocky, but I thought, we're shooing for a bowl. We're 8-3. We travel very well. I'll never forget that. And to not get in a bowl it's still puzzling 23 years later.
Yeah, it is. And one thing that I'll say is, and people, always ask me, where'd you go to school, and what'd you do? And I'll say, I played at East Carolina. I played football back in the 90s. And they stop and they pause and they say, the crowds and the tailgating and everything there is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And they say it rivals some of the SEC teams. And I just smile and say, yep, sure is. It does. ECU travels well. They do, wherever you go. I mean, if it's out west or, up north or whatever, you're going to have East Carolina fans, that are there. My sister lives out in Vegas, and I went out to visit her one time, had an ECU sweatshirt on, and somebody comes up to me and says, "Go Pirates." So, I'm just like, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?" I went to ECU. And I was like, "Oh, you live out here now." But wherever you go, you're going to find that. And there's not a lot of teams around that are purple and gold and have the pirate logo on there. So it's a very recognizable brand, and it's pirates love pirates, and we all love to take care of one another as well.
No doubt about it. The great thing about Pirate Nation is just that very thing when you're talking about that. No matter where you go, tons of alums everywhere. People that went to East Carolina, people that pull for East Carolina, the whole 9 yards. What do you think? What is it going to take? Do you think so? After a few years of Houston, then we'll get back into the swing of things, so back into the national picture, if you will.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think? I think that number one, winning is going to do that. What I think is building. Let's start with 7 wins.
Right.
Okay. Let's start with that and have that as a goal. Then, slowly but surely ramp it up. Then you're looking at, let's win the conference. Okay? Let's get to a bowl. Let's win the bowl. Then we get recruits. We start getting top-notch recruits. And then winning begets winning. But you've got to start out right now, ground zero. Let's get 7. 7-5 ain't that bad. People go to bowls at that. Teams go to bowls at that. So let's start there. But I think it will start to build, and fans are going to come back, because we have very loyal fans. The product on the field hadn't been that great the last few years, and attendance has been a little bit down, but there have been games where you look and see, and, the first part of the year, the stadium's packed. And the more that the better that the team does, the more people are going to come back, and they're going to sit there, and that upper deck's going to be full, and the bowl is going to be full, and the boneyard will be full, and and you're going to have that crowd of days in the past back.
And that's the thing. Pirate Nation just wants. Sure, we want a winner, and that goes without saying, but at the same time, they want a competitive product on the field. Out of our 27 losses the last 3 years, a large percentage of those were extremely lopsided. I mean, it's not like Ruff's final year where we were losing games by 7 and 10 points. I mean, we're very rarely losing games by 7 and 10 points under the previous regime. And so,
wasn't it Mike Houston that rolled up like 600 yards of rushing on the Pirates?
Three touchdown runs in the second half back in the season opener in 2017. Three touchdown runs of 80 yards or more.
Yeah.
Something like that. 75 to 80 yards plus. Yeah. And so we lost that ball game 34-14, and it wasn't that close. It was 34-7, and we scored a touchdown in the final minute to make it look closer.
600 yards of total offense or what. I mean, I remember that, and my sister-in-law went to JMU, and I got some. I got a definite text message or two about that. That was kind of hard, man. That was kind of harsh, but the good news is Mike Houston is wanting to bring a running game, so we're going to have that again. We're going to have that. So running and passing. So.
Now, Travis, you were a wide receiver, so take us inside Steve Logan's film room or our practice field, or on the practice field with Coach Logan, and give us a glimpse behind the scenes.
So well, there are stories I can tell and can't tell, but I'll tell you this, Coach Logan in the film room, he was very meticulous with breaking everything down, and asking everybody, what did you see here? Why is it that you did this? And you had to give him an answer. He wouldn't take, I don't know. Why did you see this? Why did you do this? What do you see here? So if this situation, this Mike linebacker does this, what do you do? He was a teacher. He was a teacher for young men, not only football wise, but spiritually and just all facets of life. He wanted to have his players grow up when they got older, when they became young men and then older men, to be successful in life. That dude, he was an X's and O's guy, and he would, in practice, he would never call you by your name until he really needed you. So he'd be like, 12, 826, 842, that like Oklahoma swang or whatever. I one time in practice, jumped up for a pass, man, and I tipped it, and it got picked off. And he comes over at me, and he's like, Travis, how tall are you? I'm like, 5'8". He says, grow some. and that was just it, man. He just, grow some. And or if you drop a pass or whatever, he'd yell at you. Why did you do this? If you can't do this, you can't be here. And you'd be like all down and whatever. And then he'd come to you. You'd be on the sideline taking a knee or at in the back of the offense, and he'd be like, Trav, let me talk to you, Trav. You got to make that catch, son. You got to catch that ball. Look it in your hands and catch the ball. Squeeze it. And so he had that kind of father figure. He would blast you and then, not embarrass you, but you did wrong. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. And then he'd come in on the back end, kind of that compliment sandwich type deal. He'd tell you what you did wrong, and just kind of ease you into, all right, cool, yeah, I believe in you. I have confidence in you. So I look up to him to this day. He helped me out with a lot of things, later on in life that, he probably never had an idea that he did, but it's just the conversations that we had. you learn a lot by sitting next to the coach sometimes during practice or during games.
Travis, I know that another guy that meant an awful lot to guys during that era, and yourself included, was strength and conditioning coach Jeff Connors. So I know Coach Logan really relied on him as far as motivation and so forth. And I've heard some stories as far as some of the pregame speeches and even fights, boxing matches, and so forth that took place in the locker room. So can you tell us what you can about that?
Yeah, so Coach Connors, Jeff Connors, was that dude. And your freshman year, you just really didn't like him because he would literally break your body down. And he was rough and gruff. And, for most of the freshmen, he just kind of, was, you're just here. You know what I'm saying? And he literally, we did tires and vans and running and this and that. But as you got older, as you stuck around with the program, he became more of your, not a friend, someone that you could rely on. And, hey, coach, this is going on, or that is going on. I was, like I said, 150 pounds when I got there, and bulked up to around probably 170, 175 maybe. I told Coach Connors one time, I said, I think I'm a little heavy, and I think I need to slim down a little bit. And he's like, well, you can run around and run to the dorm and back every day until you feel like you're slimmed down again. But it was just that kind of rough and gruff stuff that he did. And, the famous David Garrard, when David got there, and, he was 270 plus, and he ran around with Coach Connors all around Greenville. But Coach C, I love that dude to death, man. He is a solid guy, and I'm sad that he's gone, but I'm happy that he's enjoying retirement.
Now, do you know the new strength and conditioning coach?
No,
Big John Williams. He's actually a guy that I believe he's from Greenville. I know that he went to Rose, and he had been with Coach Houston at JMU. So he's someone like you were just saying, how the head coach, regardless of the program, relies on the strength and conditioning coach so much, because outside of him, that's who he's going to spend the majority of his time with. So
absolutely. I mean, just from waking up and doing your, especially during the fall camp, getting your lift in, getting your nutrition, getting everything done, getting your drift lifts in, during spring, making sure that you're in shape for that, and winter conditioning and all those things. No, a great strength and conditioning coach is important, and a program will die without a strong strength and conditioning coach. I mean, because that sets the tone, it sets the attitude. It sets it. We were dog soldiers. We were guys under Coach C that took no prisoners. There was accountability. And he set that accountability along with the rest of the coaching staff. But we saw him the most. It was 6 a.m. workouts. Lift. Go eat breakfast. Then come back in, do another lifting session, or do your film training. But he was always there. We lifted, we ran, we did whatever, and he was that guy that was there, a lot, and then after practice, we'd run our gassers, and we would hate Tuesdays, man. Tuesdays we call them Bloody Tuesdays because it was gassers down and back across the field in a certain amount of time, skill, combo, and line. But if you didn't touch that line or if you didn't make it, then you're running again. But it was a fashion of you can get through this, you can do this, and don't quit. And that's what he brought. So I'm hoping that Big John's going to do the same thing with this team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. From everything I'm hearing, I certainly expect that to be the case. Travis, you were wrapping up your Pirate career in 1998, and I know earlier, before we went on the air, we were talking about a pretty cool story, how quickly you got into your professional career after that. So take us back to the fall of 1998, and the Pirates had just beaten Memphis to have a winning season, and take it from there.
Yeah, so we had won. I made a couple of big hits on special teams on kickoff coverage and blown up the wedge at my little bitty size, and after the game and we had our celebration in the locker room, winning season. And we were sitting out in the concourse area waiting to get on the bus, and Billy Weaver walks by. And so I'm like, you know what? I need a job. I need something after I graduate because I was going to graduate in December. So I walked up to him and said, Mr. Weaver, I'm looking for a job. Are you guys hiring? And here's my info. He said, give me a call. And so I gave him a call, went down, interviewed the day before I graduated. They hired me. I, wrote my resume on a piece of notebook paper in some red ink. And, they said, you're hired. I was a production assistant. Shortly after then, Ray Fisher left, and which opened a spot up for me to be a sports reporter and anchor. And, the first time I got on air, about threw up, man. I was so nervous, man. I got sick, man, but it was awesome. And I enjoyed it, doing the, Steve Logan, football coaches show and the Bill Harrion basketball show, producing, shooting, editing. It was a joy, man. It was a time in life where I got to do what I loved. I really did, and it was fantastic.
I remember we were just talking about the. Can you tell the infamous story? People think that we have 3-4 hours a day or whatever, like in radio or television. Can you talk about the story about we're at Richmond?
JMU.
I'm sorry, it's JMU. I'm sorry.
Yeah, James, man. Well, I've got two, man. But the JMU, there was a basketball game at JMU, 7:00 tip-off. So I left from Greenville, and it's a little over 6 hours to get up to Harrisonburg. So drove up there, shot the game. So game about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. Then had to do the Bill Harrion coaches show after that. So shot that, they get on the bus, they head on back. Then I had to head back from Harrisonburg to Chocowinity, Little Washington, where the old TV station used to be. Put the show together, and it had to be on before 6. And I was up for a long time, an extreme long time. Hallucinated on the way back home, man. It was fun, but it was not fun. Coming back and you hit Rocky Mount on 95. You're going through there and trying to head to Greenville, and you miss a turn or whatever. Then it's 10 miles to turn around and come back. On 95. And it was crazy. Another time, man, I had to drive up to American University, shoot a game, do a coach's show. So it so happened that was George Bush's inauguration that weekend. Uh-oh. So yeah, the city streets were closed down, and I'm trying to get around to American U, and there's block off. finally I got this nice cop that he was like, yeah, where are you trying to get? I'm like, American U. He's like, you need to go here, avoid the barricades. And that was another long day because I had to shoot the show there as well and then drive from D.C. back to here. So, no, it is not a 2 or 3 or 4 hour deal, man. No, it can be a 20-plus, 30-hour deal with, what we do.
Now, Travis, you were telling me through that experience you had the opportunity to interview some pretty famous athletes, the likes of Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods.
Michael, Tiger.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so Michael Jordan Celebrity Golf Classic, that was pretty awesome, dealing with him and Tiger Woods down at the Emerald golf course in New Bern. Evander Holyfield, Marshall Faulk, even celebrities, there's so many people that, that I've talked to, and it's Charles Barkley, Damon Wayans. I mean, all of these guys that you talk to, Vince Gill, the country singer.
Right.
At the time, Matt Lauer. Stuart Scott. All these people that you get to talk to. Me and Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell.
Dennis Haskins, I believe his name. Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Haskins.
You remember Mac McCarthy?
Yeah.
Former East Carolina assistant coach and then head coach after Ricky Stokes. That's what Mac McCarthy, during his days at Chattanooga, where he took them to the Sweet 16, he, I think Mr. Belding, Dennis Haskins is from Chattanooga maybe, or an alum of UTC. So yeah, he developed a relationship with him.
Yeah. Me and Dennis had quite an interesting night at Ham's. So I was kind of the old Ham's restaurant down on the corner back in the day. We had quite an evening. I'll say that. Yeah. So how many people
called him? Did anybody call him Mr. Belding while y'all were there?
Half the restaurant, because he was
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So but no, man, I enjoyed all of it. And there's, I remember talking to Alex Radow when we were at the former sports anchor at WITN, and when we saw Evander Holyfield, Alex whispered over to me, he's like, "That's his ear. Look at his ear." And it was the ear that Mike Tyson bit off.
Yeah.
So it looked sort of fine, but sort of chewed off, so to speak. So we kind of marveled at Evander's missing earpiece. So, but lots of fun, man. Lots of fun back then. I don't miss it. Don't miss it at all. I do miss it, actually. And I don't miss a lot of the travel, but I do miss just the interaction with just working with everybody and seeing everyone.
But anyway, Travis, we really appreciate your time. We'd love to have you back on this fall to talk. Talk some Pirate football. But really appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Thanks,
all right,
Travis.
Dave, y'all take care, man. All right.
All
right, Pirate Nation. That is Travis Newkirk.
That concludes this edition of 50 Pirates in 50 Days on the Sports Objective. Remember, join us daily between now and game day as we will talk Pirate football with players from various eras. All these interviews are available exclusively on SoundCloud and our YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe and follow so you're alerted when we post new content. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, Go Pirates!